Fuming about the three-legged race, Young-joon criticized Miso for being so comfortable with skinship from a strange man. Miso fires back that it's better than being a loser, her voice tight with frustration. Young-joon edges closer, then closer, his gaze locked on hers, challenging her to prove she's unaffected. Finally, he grabs her arm and suddenly pulls her down as he topples backward onto the couch, Miso landing squarely on top of him. They freeze, eyes locked, staring at each other for a long, long time. The ice pack slips from the table and hits the floor with a soft thud, breaking the spell. Miso springs to her feet to fetch another ice pack, leaving Young-joon lying there, still blinking in dazed confusion. When she returns to the living room, she finds Young-joon fast asleep, his expression finally relaxed. She sinks into a seat nearby, quietly watching him for a moment. Suddenly, he starts to stir, caught in the grips of a familiar nightmare, the same one with the woman in red high heels. But this time, a young boy is in the house with her. Young-joon hears her voice croon, "Kid, can you help me?" as she reaches out with claw-like hands. The little boy lets out a piercing scream. Young-joon jerks awake, breathing heavily, and Miso gently helps him sit up. She brings him a cup of calming tea and asks softly if he's okay. He exhales shakily and says, "Yes, thanks to you." In a small, unexpectedly vulnerable voice, he adds that he doesn't want to be alone tonight and asks if Miso could sleep at his house. She misinterprets the request entirely, her eyes widening in alarm, and a wave of awkwardness washes over both of them. Quickly, Young-joon clarifies that he meant she could sleep in the guest room, just because it's late, of course. Miso looks both relieved and mortified, and Young-joon can't help but smirk at her flustered expression as he asks, with a teasing glint, what she thought he meant. Just then, a call comes in that instantly erases the humor from his face. His tone turns clipped as he tells Miso she can't stay over after all. She stiffens, then reassures him that she had absolutely no intention of staying, and practically bolts from the house. On her way home, her heart still pounding, Miso wonders who that call was from, and why Young-joon suddenly looked so shaken. A man bumps into Miso, nearly knocking her off balance, and drops his phone. It's Seogyeon, Young-joon's older brother, though she doesn't recognize him. He tells her to be more careful, but not out of annoyance over his phone. Instead, he notices her untied shoelace and stoops down to tie it for her. He continues on his way, and Miso mutters under her breath that he was surprisingly sweet, unlike someone else she knows. She doesn't notice Seogyeon glance back, watching her with quiet recognition and a knowing smile. Later, Seogyeon arrives at Young-joon's house, though Young-joon doesn't look the least bit happy to see him. Seogyeon explains that he didn't want to stay alone at their parents' place, so he figured he'd stop by. With a slightly strained smile, he admits he's still struggling with memories of that incident, and says that holding on to hatred for Young-joon has only made things harder. He thinks it's time to forgive. But Young-joon's expression doesn't soften. Coldly, he tells his brother to leave. Meanwhile, when Miso gets home, she finds the cable ties still in her pocket. Holding them in her hand, she's flooded with a memory from 9 years ago, when she had made the mistake of organizing them in Young-joon's office. He had told her, his voice unsteady, that he reacts to cable ties the way she reacts to spiders. She remembers clearly, it was the first time her boss, who always seemed so flawless, had shown her a crack in his perfect facade. It was the first time he'd seemed human. She has a tender spot on her ankle from the three-legged race, and the ache reminds her of Young-joon's scarred ankle. She finds herself wondering again what could have happened to him. She sends him a quick text to check on his twisted ankle and to let him know she's already cleared his schedule so he can rest. Young-joon texts back, complaining that she's nagging him again, but there's a smile tugging at his lips as he types. The next morning, the office is buzzing with tension. Another company's new art center has suddenly pushed up its opening date, clearly aiming to beat Yumyoung Group's grand launch later this month. Young-joon overhears and says curtly that they'll just open theirs earlier, too. A wave of panic spreads across the room, but Miso's voice cuts through it, calm and confident, as she promises she'll handle everything. The office team launches into overdrive while Young-joon visits the rival art center. The director there warns that it will be difficult for Yumyoung to have their departments finished in time. But Miso, with her usual poise, makes smart, practical suggestions and swiftly eliminates one obstacle after another, impressing Young-joon with her quick thinking and capability. Later, while touring the library in the art center with Young-joon, the lights suddenly go out. The space plunges into darkness. Miso calls to investigate and learns the power is out throughout the building. She calmly tells the director to focus on fixing the issue, assuring him that she and the vice chairman are just fine. Young-joon sighs over all the delays, then turns to face Miso and lets out a full-throated scream. The dim glow of her phone screen lighting up her face had startled him. Miso quickly explains that she was just turning on the flashlight, then breaks into a teasing grin, telling him he looked kind of cute when he screamed. But her smile falters instantly as she realizes she just called her boss cute. Young-joon straightens his jacket and retorts coolly, "I'm not cute. I'm fatally attractive, okay?" They find a table and sit down in the dark, both trying very hard not to look directly at each other, as if there's something fascinating happening on the ceiling. Eventually, Miso gets up and wanders over to the bookshelf. She smiles softly when she finds one of her favorite romance novels. As she flips through the pages, awkwardly trying to hold her phone light on the text, Young-joon silently moves beside her and lifts his own phone to light the pages for her. While she's focused on the book, he watches her face, quietly taking in the soft expression she wears in the glow of the light. Miso begins to read a line aloud, her voice barely above a whisper. "I want to be in the kind of relationship where I feel like the tiredness of my day gets washed off just by hugging you once, even if you don't make my heart flutter every second." Young-joon doesn't speak. He just listens. And stares. She smiles up at Young-joon, and he snaps defensively, calling it childish. He mutters that his luxurious shower is what washes away the tiredness of his day, not a hug. Miso rolls her eyes, clearly unimpressed. She sighs and says, even if he thinks it's childish, that's the kind of love she dreams of. She turns back to her book, and suddenly Young-joon blurts, "Have I ever told you that you're pretty?" Miso looks up in surprise, but Young-joon instantly backpedals, mumbling that he's never said it because he's never thought it. The silence between them stretches, full of tension neither of them can quite name. Unable to handle the awkwardness, they decide to leave the library. Miso leads the way, but Young-joon interrupts, claiming he knows a shortcut, only to walk them straight into a dead end. When Miso tells him to trust someone who's been here before, he retorts that it just proves his excellent hiring skills for choosing an innovative architect. As they walk, Young-joon suddenly asks, "Are you wearing perfume?" Miso flips her ponytail in his face and says he's probably smelling her shampoo. He notices how fast she's walking and wonders aloud, "Why am I suddenly noticing things I haven't before?" Miso replies calmly, "Your senses get sharper in the dark." She grabs his wrist to guide him forward, but he stops, looking down at where she's touching him. You're right, he says quietly. My senses are sharper in the dark. Miso quickly lets go, flustered, but Young-joon reaches out and gently takes her hand in his instead. They walk out of the building hand in hand. Later, in the car, Young-joon smiles to himself, stealing a glance at her. He casually asks if the library hosts other events besides movie screenings. When she replies yes, he tells her to prepare something for the grand opening. Miso, sensing he's more invested than he lets on, says she'll come up with more ideas too, since he seems worried. Miso is visibly distracted during dinner with her sisters. She explains that she's brainstorming ideas for the upcoming library opening, but her sisters dismiss her, saying she's acting like a workaholic, even though she's quitting soon. Her middle sister rolls her eyes and blames Young-joon's possessiveness for Miso's stress, having heard all about it from Pilnam. Miso says, more thoughtfully this time, that she thinks Young-joon is trying to change her mind because he actually needs her. Pilnam shoots her a look and asks if she likes him. Miso denies it, just a little too loudly. Pilnam warns her, if you don't end it cleanly, you'll end up as his secretary forever. On her way to the restroom, Miso screams when she sees a spider. She asks Pilnam, who's a psychiatrist, if it's possible to overcome phobias. Pilnam assures her, if you keep confronting the fear, you can get past it. She offers to schedule Miso for a session, but Miso replies, it's not about me. Meanwhile, Young-joon sits alone at home, clearly restless. He picks up the same book Miso was reading in the library. At first, he scoffs, mocking her taste for what he calls childish stuff. But curiosity gets the better of him, and he starts reading. One passage stops him cold. In this heavy and confusing life, while you deal with your business, you wonder what they are doing all of a sudden, and think of the person first instead of yourself. That's enough of a reason to call it love. He puts the book aside, his expression flickering with discomfort. He mutters that he's only wondering what Miso is doing because he needs to assign her work. Then, quietly, as if trying to convince himself, he scoffs. Calling it love? Ridiculous. But his eyes linger on the book, and for the first time, he looks genuinely unsure. The next morning, Jia excitedly waves her phone, thrilled over an article announcing the release date for Morpheus' newest book. She wonders aloud, why has he never shown his face, and sighs in admiration. This sparks an idea in Miso, a book concert featuring a famous author for the library opening. She rushes to pitch the idea to Young-joon. At first, she hesitates, about to mention Morpheus by name, then catches herself, worried that securing him might be a long shot. Young-joon narrows his eyes. So, an incomplete plan? Miso nods cautiously, then asks, give me time. I'll work out the details. He doesn't push further, but he doesn't look thrilled, either. Suddenly, Young-joon receives a text. It's from Sageon, I'm in the building. Young-joon stiffens immediately. Then, very pointedly, he looks at Miso. Go to the burger shop, he instructs, rattling off a comically specific order. And take the stairs. No rush. Miso blinks in confusion, but nods and leaves, clearly being sent away. Sageon arrives moments later, breezing into the office with a practiced smile. He says he was just on his way to meet his publisher and thought he'd drop by. He holds out an advance copy of his book. Young-joon doesn't take it. You wouldn't read it anyway, Sageon says with a chuckle, it's a love story. He eyes his brother. You should try dating, know what love is. Young-joon stays icy, there are many things I still need to learn. One at a time. Now please leave. Meanwhile, Miso returns just as Sageon exits the building. They recognize each other immediately. It's the man she bumped into last night. "Oh, it's you," he says, smiling. "Fate again? Can I get your number?" Miso tries to deflect, saying she's in a hurry, but he insists. Reluctantly, she takes his phone. As she hands it back, he glances at her name tag. Secretary Kim Miso. Then looks at his phone and bursts out laughing. "You gave me a fake number." Miso doesn't respond, just walks away faster. Miso brings the food up to Young-joon's office, but he just says flatly that he's lost his appetite. She smiles gently and takes the tray back, but as she leaves, she looks back, worried by how upset he seems. Down in the lobby, Jia and Sarah pass Bachelor GWI Nam, who's sitting down for a quick break. Sarah notes that he looks tired, and Jia mentions he's a workaholic. Sarah adds that he never accepts invitations to social events, and that he has 10 identical suits to avoid wasting time deciding what to wear. She steps aside to take a call, and Jia notices something odd, a piece of lint stuck to GWI Nam's butt as he walks away. She stares, baffled. Elsewhere, Young-joon's parents return from Jeju Island, excited to see their older son, Sageon, who's back in Korea after 3 years abroad. They ask if he's seen Young-joon yet. Sageon sighs and says, "He still acts like he hates me." Their expressions grow solemn. Back at the office, Miso gets a call back from Morpheus' agent, who tells her that Morpheus is not interested in public appearances. A bit discouraged, she sets the phone down, just as Young-joon exits his office. She helps him put on his jacket, and he casually asks, "Italian for lunch?" Miso replies that she's busy preparing for the library opening. He says, "I wasn't asking you to eat with me. I meant you should have Italian for lunch." Alone. Miso looks surprised, and maybe a little disappointed. Determined to secure Morpheus for the opening event, Miso meets a reporter who once interviewed him by email. The reporter refuses to give out the contact info. But Miso calmly reminds her that she's the one who stopped the company from suing her for digging into Young-joon's private life. After a long beat, the reporter relents and hands over the email address. That evening, while Miso composes her message to Morpheus, Young-joon is out for drinks with Yoshik, admiring his own reflection in his wine glass. Yoshik laughs, "I heard you were stuck in a blackout at the library. Was it rough?" Young-joon pauses, remembering Miso's smile, the warmth of her hand in his. He replies softly, "It was fun." The next morning, Sarah scolds Jia for messing up the photocopying, until GWI Nam walks in, holding the opening event proposal. Jia spots the familiar piece of lint still stuck on GWI Nam's suit. When the office team jokes about him having 10 identical suits, Jia whispers that she thinks he's wearing the exact same one as yesterday. Sarah snaps at Jia not to badmouth GWI Nam and storms off to her office. As Sarah nearly collides with Yang Cheol, Young-joon's assistant, they awkwardly shuffle back and forth, neither willing to give way, Yang Cheol growing more sheepish by the second. Miso delivers the planning department's event proposal to Young-joon, mentioning that she's still finalizing the book concert idea. She steps close to fix his tie, catching him completely off guard. Young-joon stammers that he'll do it himself, but his heart pounds, just 3 beats, but enough to make him wonder if he needs to see a doctor. Later, Young-joon's mom asks Miso if he's busy today and gives her a small gift. She worries that if she invites him to dinner, he'll get annoyed, but Miso assures her he's free. Mom's face lights up, and she rushes off to invite him, but Young-joon refuses flat out before she can even finish. She tries pouting, sweet-talking, even guilt-tripping, but nothing works. Dejected, she vents to Miso that he's just not interested, then gets a mischievous idea. Complaining about dust on her shoes, she asks Miso for a handkerchief. When Miso looks up, Mom has vanished, but her purse is sitting on Miso's desk. Mom calls, asking Miso to have Young-joon bring her purse to her home this evening. Miso tells Young-joon about his mother's scheme to get him to visit. He smirks and asks, "So, who's more important to you, Mom or me?" Miso doesn't miss a beat, "You." He tries to hide a grin but she continues, "But you're being stubborn. Don't do something you'll regret." That evening at dinner, Mom is radiant, thrilled to have both her sons at the same table. Young-joon eats silently, stoic as ever, while Segeon plays the polite, dutiful son. Mom casually asks Young-joon if she should have invited Miso, telling Segeon she's the only person Young-joon trusts. She suggests inviting Miso to dinner while Segeon's in town, but Young-joon swiftly changes the subject to the arts center opening. Dad praises Young-joon for his sharp business sense in moving up the opening date, but Mom worries he's overloaded. Young-joon waves off their concerns, but they fuss over him anyway, piling his plate with food, while Segeon watches quietly, almost invisible. After dinner, Segeon brings Young-joon coffee. Young-joon doesn't look up from his tablet, saying stiffly, "I'm working." Segeon breaks the silence, "I'm curious about Miso. How do you think she's put up with you for 9 years? He adds pointedly, "It seems like you're purposely keeping her away from me. Are you worried I'll date her?" Young-joon finally looks up and growls, "Get out." Segeon sighs, "I'm just trying to reach out." Segeon reminds him, "I'm willing to pretend nothing happened." That only makes Young-joon angrier. "You rub it in too much for someone claiming to forgive." Young-joon says coldly that it happened over 20 years ago. "I don't even remember." Segeon's face falls, stricken. "Why do you hate me so much?" he asks quietly. Young-joon's voice hardens, "I don't hate you. I abhor you." It's a very strong, intense way of saying someone is hated, not just dislike, but a strong feeling of disgust or repulsion toward that person. When Young-joon says this to Segeon, it shows how much anger and resentment he truly feels, going beyond normal hatred to something even harsher. Segeon's anger boils over. He shouts, "If it weren't for what you did, I'd be in your place." Young-joon's eyes narrow. "Do you really believe that?" He steps closer, voice cold and cutting. "You're weak. Incompetent. You torture others just to protect yourself," Young-joon continues, "and even if that hadn't happened, you'd still never have been capable of running this company." Young-joon turns to leave, but Segeon throws a sudden right hook. Young-joon snaps upright, fists clenched, ready to fight back. Their parents burst into the room, Dad's voice booms, "Enough," while Mom breaks down in tears. Her sobs hit something deep in Young-joon, and his clenched fist slowly falls to his side. Without another word, he storms out. Later, Segeon's phone buzzes. It's his publisher with an urgent email checking his inbox. He sees Miso's request about the book concert. Young-joon drives straight to Miso's apartment. Just as he's about to go inside, he stops, turning back to his car. Miso walks toward him, eyes glued to her phone. He smiles softly. Without looking up, she passes him. Young-joon reaches out, touching her shoulder, nearly giving her a heart attack. Don't do that, she scolds, but then her eyes catch the blood on his lip. He shrugs. Don't ask. Concerned, she grabs his wrist and pulls him inside. The moment they enter, she sees the chaos, clothes and clutter everywhere. Panic flashes across her face. I'm so sorry, she blurts, shoving him back toward the door. Give me 1 minute. He waits patiently while she frantically tidies up, stuffing things into drawers and closets, even hiding a pile of her bras under hard-working cow. Finally, Miso lets him in, insisting she needs to fix his lip, just in case any photos get taken at the art center opening. She guides him to a chair while she sits on the bed beside him, making him lean forward. His heart pounds wildly, his expression is adorably terrified as he obeys. She carefully cleans his lip, completely focused, and Young-joon can't look away. When she glances up, their eyes meet, and for a moment, neither can look away. The spell breaks when Young-joon jerks back abruptly. Miso asks softly, did you get into a fight? He grumbles, don't ask. Trying to lighten the mood, Miso brightens instantly. Well, then, stay for Ramyun. I'm making it now. Her cheerfulness is contagious, and Young-joon can't help but smile, then chuckle. While she cooks, he eyes her room, spotting her favorite book on the shelf. He mutters, such a childish thing. Miso pops up behind him, pouting. You just don't understand love. He smirks wryly. Do you? You've been single your whole life. She storms off to check the water, and Young-joon notices hard-working cow lying face down. He leans over to fix it, just as Miso bursts in, panic-stricken to stop him from discovering her entire bra collection hidden beneath. In the scramble, she shoves him onto the bed and lands on top of him. As Miso tries to scramble up, Young-joon suddenly wraps his arms around her, pulling her close. His voice is a quiet whisper, trembling with sincerity. Just for a little while, let me stay like this. From now on, I'm going to be madly in love with you.